Many people have been led to believe that, although the Bible is full of interesting stories, its history is mythological and made up, with no archaeological support. This series is dedicated to those who need help dislodging that dubious claim. Discovering evidence for the biblical patriarchs can be a difficult thing. Ask yourself this: how much archaeological evidence did you leave behind last time you went camping? Tent-dwelling nomads don't necessarily leave behind giant monuments, but there are still ways of looking for them through indirect evidence. According to Dr. Kenneth Kitchen, an Egyptologist, during the 2nd through the 15th dynasties, the Egyptian kings really had an East Delta residence in northern Egypt, which was then used by Hyksos rulers, and before the 20th century BC there was no such arrangement, and there was no royal residence up there during the 18th dynasty. So, visits by an Abraham or a Jacob to a pharaoh at an East Delta palace in North Egypt are only feasible in Egyptian terms from around 1970 BC to 1540 BC, which is a period of time in which the Bible does put the patriarchs. Also, for a long time it has been noted that some of the names in the families of the patriarchs were patterned on a particular model, what experts in the field commonly call the Amorite imperfective. In this type, there's a verbal form with a prefixed pronoun element, ya or y. Also, it has been noted that very many of these names are found in the Mari archives of the 18th century. Among our patriarchs, such names include Jacob, Isaac, Ishmael, and Joseph. After a thorough study of the entire collected corpus of West Semitic personal names of the Amorite type, scholar Ignace Gelb created a large volume of no less than 6,000 personal names. Although the Amorite imperfective name type can be found in many centuries, their popularity in the early 2nd millennium is unparalleled with any other period. Of all names beginning with the I or y sound known in the early 2nd millennium, a massive 55% are the Amorite imperfective. In the late Bronze Age, up to 500 years later, at Ugarit, only 30 and 25% of the initial I or y names are of this type in the alphabetic and syllabic texts, respectively. There are even fewer in the Iron Age. In classic Old Phoenician and Old Aramaic, imperfective name types are only 12% of all known I or y names. So, the chronological setting in which the Bible places the patriarchs is wholly consistent with evidence that we have of personal pronouns. Another thing that's interesting is that Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers for 20 shekels, according to Genesis 37. According to the laws of Hammurabi, transactions recorded at Mari, and other old Babylonian documents, this is the price you would expect for the era that the Bible puts Joseph. Beforehand, slaves were cheaper. In the 3rd dynasty of Ur, you would expect 10 shekels being the commonest price. By the 15th century at Nuzi, and in the 14th and 13th century at Ugarit, the average price rose to 30 shekels and more. Confer with the replacement price of 30 shekels in Exodus 21. By the 1st millennium, male slaves in Assyria were worth 50 to 60 shekels. Confer with the 50 shekel redemption price that Menahem had to pay Assyria for his notables in 2 Kings chapter 15. After the exile, prices rose to anywhere from 90 to 120 shekels under the Persian Empire. So, the biblical price figures fit their chronological setting for each case. 20 shekels for Joseph in the early 2nd millennium, 30 shekels after the time of Moses, and 50 shekels during the time of Menahem, king of Israel. So, whether it be the names that are given for the patriarchs in the Bible, for the price of slaves that changes over time, or even for the fact that in the Bible patriarchs are known to be talking to pharaohs in their palaces in North Egypt, all of this seems to fit the chronology given by the Bible. I hope this was interesting and encouraging to you. But remember, the question is not, can we prove everything in the Bible? The question rather should be, where there is archaeological evidence, does it in fact support biblical witness or not? Thank you for watching.